Hello everyone, I'm still with Dr. Obi.
Yeah. And I'm still with Dr. Shane.
But just call me Shane. Thank you. So we're still talking about, some of the reasons marriages crash abroad. And let's talk about marriage by correspondence. I remember the very first time I heard this word I was in medical school, and one of our pastors in school said, "Oh, this is what marriage by correspondence means." I've never heard it before. Like it said, when a partner is in a particular place and the other one is far away, like they do not live together, so it's just married by correspondence. They just correspond whether by phone, emails, text messages. They are not together. And I was like, wow, why is it telling me this? But I really, sometimes people tell us things based on our background. They know where we are coming from. That's right. And I'm grateful, I'm grateful that people have taught me many things. I've learned so many things from people. I am grateful for every knowledge, or any information I've received from people. I am grateful.
Marriage by correspondence. Well, I think I know now that you explain it. Yeah. I know that it does happen.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm thinking is, if the aim is that like Joseph, that God uses a man like Joseph to preserve the other people. So there's a plan that later on, we're gonna come and be together.
Not like the one for 15 years.
No.
They are not together. No. Dad, where is dad? Where is mom? 15, 12 years.
This is because let's go back to the basics. This only happens when people misunderstand the origin or the purpose of marriage from God's view. Yeah? God's view of marriage is not so that I'm just paying school fees. My wife is taking care of the children while I'm working here. And many people are doing it and are comfortable doing it. Yeah? But that's not, if you're talking about Christian marriage, that's not the focus. That's not the aim. When the Bible says that the two shall become, I don't see how you can become one with someone who you don't spend time with, who you don't spend time understanding who they are, how they respond to issues. I don't see how you can be one with someone who there is a consistent gap between yourself and this person. Now, sometimes people do it for preservative purposes to come and join, but if the aim is you
stay there,
then it's obvious why, for example, the woman can find other things to do. The man can also find other things to do. Actually, that gap between husband and wife is not actually healthy for them. Sexually, it's not healthy. Communication wise, is not healthy.
It's not.
In terms of their health,
it's not.
It's actually not healthy. Somebody can be ill while you're not a medical doctor like Dr. Sheung, but that you're there. Physically. You're there.
That makes people whole.
Absolutely.
Physical presence.
Yeah.
I remember my husband attended a seminar talking about the presence of fathers, fathers conference. And the man said, the man's name is Bishop Dalu, and he said something like, even if you don't have anything, just be present. Just
be there. What your children will remember is that you were there.
Was there.
What your wife and your husband will remember is that you were there. So playing absentee father,
or trying to substitute, presence for present.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, gifts. So I keep them in a good house. They live in a good bed. I provide them. That's absenteeism. That doesn't replace all the football matches that you missed for your children. That doesn't replace all the plays, moments, treasured moments. That doesn't replace that your wife goes to work now and something happens and she really needs to talk to you, but unfortunately, consistently she can't get you on the phone for whatever reason. Perhaps you're working, you may not be able to take call immediately. That doesn't explain that, that day that she was spoken to in a very horrible way by somebody at work or a patient, depending on the work setting, that cuddle. That somebody, it does that now. Giving money and presents and giving good. Like, but you know what? Don't you believe that some women are still okay with it?
I know.
But that's not the concept of godly marriage. Some people are like, give me this, give me that, stay wherever you are. If you're like that, you actually need to think about the core behind why you're saying that, because there's something going on.
True.
If you don't want intimacy, then
something. And you see that in somehow, whether pastor, whether anybody, somebody is getting satisfaction from somebody, from somewhere else.
Absolutely.
Forgets, the religious, like facade or how do I say it, like that appearance someone is getting.
We are created.
Would get.
Yeah, we're created to be intimate beings. We are created to be intimate beings. When God made, He purposely did it male and female. God didn't do male and just leave it like that. There is the intimacy place that every human being wants. Somebody wants to be loved. Somebody wants somebody to be present for them. And if you have that long years gap where your spouse is not, I kid you not, over time you would find another hobby. Yeah. You would find another thing to be addicted to. If you're not addicted to your spouse, you'll find something.
I remembered something, a scenario, this one is not even, it affected the marriage. A man had been away for many years abroad. He had been abroad. And one day he came home. He expected that his son would, should have finished the university at that time. And he came home and realized his son was not going to school. And then there started saying, "Oh, why are you not in school?" And the woman was like, "Okay, did you send money? Did you ask? Did you those kind of things?" And that marriage at some point tore apart because the man had been abroad for many years. He just felt coming home, everything would be in order. And looking back, and I'm like, no, you're not a magician. There was nothing. It was just correspondence. Children also need presence. There's no magic. You just expect him to have, grown bigger, yes, which life would actually, by eating, people will grow, good health will grow. But what about basic things, seeing daddy doing things, seeing daddy going to work, and before you know it, those children will become victims of addictions because there's nobody, sometimes when daddy says stop, daddy means stop. When mommy says stop, the children still think in their mind, is mommy really serious?
She's serious.
But daddy says stop, they
Everybody knows that.
Yes, so these children, we don't now even understand boundaries. We don't have boundaries. And then you now come up one day, show up as a mother, show up as a father, and then the blame circles will now continue. You were not there, but you are the woman, you didn't look after this boy. But you are the man, you were away too, and then it put a lot of strain on
everybody. I think you're very right. You are very right. When you were speaking, what came to my mind is the understanding that marriage is about meeting needs, which are quite external and tangible. Yeah? The day that you are gone, if your husband or wife is not genuinely saying, I miss this person, and it's not for tangible things, then you played your role in the marriage. If something happens to you today, and your family is crying, and all your spouse is saying is that, I really miss Obi. Not because she could make me a meal. No, those ones are external, tangible things. I'm talking about intangible. There's a way that you can touch the life of someone, and it leaves an incredible mark. Yes. So it's not about just providing things. Are you, what's the word? Oh, there's a word that I'm looking for. If you're gone, I can't remember the words. If you're gone, but people miss you for a need that other people can meet. There are people who've lost husbands and their friends are going to say, don't worry about it, all the school fee of the children will pay to university.
That's just physical.
That's
not
physical.
Emotional.
But what if there's a gap between you and your wife? They've met her need. So what's the problem? What was your role in the first place?
Why should you even cry?
Why should she be crying? They have paid the school fees. They have paid the house rent for until. Okay, so what else? So the question really, how you know why some of these things are wrong? Marriage by correspondence the day that something happens to you, what will your wife, your husband say, I miss about this person? If they are tangible things, then you failed. You have really failed. Because those tangible things, people can meet them. Do GoFundMe. People will raise that thing.
People will raise money.
I'm looking for school fees. People will pay the pays. They are kind-hearted Nigerians everywhere. People will raise the money and give to you. So make sure that in terms of your union with your spouse, that what you are leaving are marks in the heart of the person that nobody else can feel that gap.
Yeah.
Even when she's saying she's a Christian, or he's saying that's fine, I understand the laws, God is faithful, there's still something here that he knows that I can't get it anywhere. I cannot get it. And in case you think it's sex, it's not sex.
It's not.
Because that's tangible.
No, that's tangible. 5 minutes. Dr. Obi, you said you were going to talk about addictions as well. Knowing fully well that women can become addicted to substances, addicted to partying lifestyles, addicted to so many things.
Yeah.
And then also these addictions also in turn affects children.
Yes.
And this can also put strains on marriage. So can you talk about, addictions, whether a man being addicted to substances, a woman being addicted to substances, medias, partying, different kind of lifestyles, and children? We're relating your question to why marriage is failed. Yes.
In diaspora.
Yeah.
Here, you have perhaps time in your hand. I believe that you have time in your hand. So when you finish from work, you finished. There's no lingering after work. Back home you can finish and there's office parties.
Yeah, many times for doctors, sometimes we bring some home depending.
Yeah.
But usually,
but actually that's wrong. If you bring work
imbalance.
Home. That's imbalance. If you do that, you really need to stop that. Please start prioritizing your health, prioritize your physical health, your mental health. Is important that you rest. When work is over, please try and shut down, come back home and enjoy the solitude of family time. Take annual leave and go away. If you don't want to go away, make sure that you're doing something fun at home. Some people, you see, they take annual leave. Wife cannot take annual leave when husband can take, so they're not spending time together. So those are things. But yeah, let's go back to addiction.
It's still part of it.
It's still part of it. Yeah, it can build. For example, I'm talking about Nigeria now. Oh, please forgive me. In Nigeria, where there is no electricity, constant. Let me say constant electricity. No, there is electricity, but it's not constant. You have to charge your phone, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do that. Also, there are, perhaps things are changing now, but loan facilities, loan facilities to buy the kind of phones that you want, to buy the TV screen, that that kind of thing. And then you come to a place where you can do buy now, pay later. And I'm not saying that you're not faithful. You're faithful in the buy now, pay later. You can pay it off within the allotted time. So you can get big screens, you can get big phones, the stuff that you want. Over time, because of those kind of what do I call it, gadgets at home, if you're not careful, it can create a gap between
husband and wife, children and mothers.
The biggest one now is social media. You can see husband and wife lying on the same bed. This one fixing that one. That one fixing this one on their phone. 30 minutes, 1 hour, they haven't slept.
And they've not talked to each other.
They've not talked to each other. They've not talked to each other. So there are questions that we really need to ask ourselves. Are we addicted to our screens? Are we addicted? Addicted to our phone? Myself and my husband, I think, was it 2 months ago, we had an honest conversation on the role of phones in our bedroom. What is the role of
in the bedroom?
Why do we need to say we are going upstairs and then we carry on from where we stopped? And I'm not going to say 100% that we're there, but we are more conscious now of how that can create that gap. That's one. Pay attention to some of the privileges that that you have here. The constant light, we can charge our phones, we can consistently watch TV without putting on generator or buying petrol. Those things can be an issue. For example, madam can be cooking, you're in the living room watching TV, she's calling for help, there's no help because you're fixated. Those things can create problems. Back home, it was not an issue because she knows that if they take the light, you finish watching the TV. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Nobody's going to take the light.
And the children also need help with assignments, but
most of things to do, everybody's thing. So those are things to pay. The other thing is what you touched upon. I think as a people, as Nigerians, we don't talk about substance abuse. We don't talk about it.
It's very real.
Yes,
Dr. Obi.
Yes,
It's very real.
It's not something that we talk about because we are religious.
And we think back at home, people will use substances that people who are rich, but here it's easy. One 10 quid, for a bag. It's easy to get here.
Yeah,
much more easier here.
And with some of the people who are hyping on the benefits of these things, research has shown that some of these substances can help to deal with pain. But people can still also buy some of these substances over the counter, and gradually we can really become addicted to it. And these are some of the things.
Children.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And a child can be in a home and parent will never notice because they are consumed by sending money home, answering phone calls from people outside, TV, so many things. Not
picking shifts.
Oh, you said you were going to talk about that picking shift.
Picking shifts. I'm just going to say one sentence because we need to wrap up quite quickly.
Yeah.
Yes, it's understandable that in the UK it can divide the family, but that's not the aim. The aim initially, when you people started looking at shift patterns, for example, if you're within the healthcare industry, is to balance it out so that there's somebody at home to bring the children back. For example, if you have children out, the other person takes to school. But over time,
it becomes a pattern.
It becomes a pattern.
No.
So even the day that the two of you are off, you will still go and collect
extra shift.
You go and collect extra shift. We wanted to talk about competition. Because there could be competition as well in terms of who earns more. All these,
who is giving more people back at home, unhealthy competition
between husband and wife. You're now working more than your contracted hours because you need to meet up a standard to show perhaps that you're the head of the home, or perhaps to show that you didn't give me money last week. I'll show that I can make my own money. While we're doing that, remember. We're not, I always say to people, myself and my husband, we've come to this reality many years ago. You are not my enemy. So that you know that we are not enemies.
We are not competing.
No, our common enemy is the devil. So let's not be the ones allowing the devil to drive that knife between our enemies. There are some times that you do your required shift and you leave it at that. Purposely say, we will spend time in the
together.
Even if it means that we lie on the bed.
Not doing anything.
Not doing, the kids to go out of the house. They should go to school. We will lie on this bed until it's time to bring them back. And we will hold our hands together and walk to the school and bring them back. That's how to nurture your marriage. That's how to, you have to be intentional about subtle little things like this. Not, can we go and pick each other? No, you go now. What am I going there to do? No. You're home today. Let's go together and go and bring the children. So those are subtle culture shocks that you can, in response, begin to look at, okay, this is how to deal with it. Other things that you do, sometimes you go out and you wonder, where are all the black people? I can't see any black person here. Our people don't go out, except for, for partying. But we remember we're raising children in a country that doesn't necessarily understand the Nigerian context. So go out. Take the children on Saturday, go to city center.
Just watch.
Buy
ice
cream. If you cannot buy ice cream, look for something else that you can afford to buy and walk around with your kids. Let them tell you stories about school. Just say whatever, because in those little conversations, that's where you hear the things they didn't tell you. Hello, mommy, this and that. So we have to unlearn. If we want our marriages to work, we have to unlearn.
And our relationships with our children.
Yes.
Because sometimes I remembered. We'll soon round up. I remembered my husband saying something. He saw something on Facebook that somebody said, don't mind those children, Jerry. When they grow up, they will not remember you. And my husband said, no, this is not true. Because if you've invested in them, they will remember you. If you were present, they will remember you. But you saying that you don't need to spend money on those children because they will forget you. that means something is wrong.
No,
Something
that's your understanding of raising children. I grew up with a very handsome dad. My dad's alive. My mom's late.
Yes.
And nothing can erase the memory of my mom in my heart. But my dad was very handsome. And I can still remember my dad coming to school, secondary school, visiting day. I can still remember my dad screaming by the staircase in university. The hostel where I lived, everybody knew my dad. So if he's going to somewhere on work and he's driving past Owerri town, there is no how he won't come in. It doesn't mean that he came with food and plantain and banana. No, perhaps he came and only gave me 1,000, 2,000. But I can still remember that people, I was in university, people were shouting, Obi Aja, your daddy is here again. No. So there's things I couldn't do because my daddy, I didn't know when he would show. So no, you don't forget things like that. You don't forget that your parents were there. That's back to tangible things and intangible things. My dad was there. My mom was there. Now she's late. But my dad, I can never forget things like that. He was there. He was there. So yeah, let's invest. Let's not become people like, I sometimes say to my husband, the things I hear, you hear, people don't speak to their parents. I'm not spoken to their parents. I don't want to have anything to do with my dad. Let's not become those kind of people because we are raising children in a different environment. Give your time. Give your time. Give your ears. Listen.
Yes.
Listen. They are not always talking nonsense. Your wife is not always talking nonsense. Give your ear. Your husband is not always shouting as well. Say, now calm down. Well, tell me, let me understand what you mean by this. Give your ears to each other. And in that way, the enemy will not. That thing that you came to do in this land will prosper. And the enemy will not break our bones.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Dr. Obi, for the conversation. Thank you for the time well spent. I am very grateful. And I would say this: if you are struggling in your relationship, many times the reason so many forms of abuse thrives in relationships is because either one person has not opened up. Open up. Get help. Get help.
Get sound
help. Professional.
Unbiased help, because sometimes the person that you're seeking help from has the eye of the problem. The way they look at the problem is the way you are looking at the problem. Where you also get someone who can look at it from a different, I think in research it's called the emic view and the ethic view. Sometimes you have to stand away from the problem and look at it for someone who doesn't understand it. Because if you meet someone that doesn't understand the Yoruba culture and you're explaining to them and they're observing it, their view of it will be different. It's also good to have a Yoruba person to understand the culture, but it's also good to have someone who has no clue what's going on, because the observation will be solid. Yeah. The other thing we need to speak quickly about, and then we round up, is some people come and they say, my husband stopped praying since we came. Those are some of the things that bring problems. My husband used to be a prayer warrior. My husband used to do. My wife used to do this. The context is different. It's not everything that we need to fight about. He's not praying anymore. It's the culture shock. Over time, we trust that he will get over it and he would realize again his need for God. Because sometimes this country can make you feel like you don't need God.
Very true. Very true.
Your bills are paid. You go to work, they pay your salary. Your bills are paid. What do you need to be praying for? And sometimes to ask God to help you in a situation is hard, because you know your husband's salary, you know your salary. That once that money comes in, you can pay that thing off. What's the need for that? She's saying
very true. But you know what I'm saying? Why I'm just making this kind of funny sounds is that because sometimes until people become crushed. Until they become crushed, they will never realize the need for God. So time of prosperity is not a time to neglect God, but rather just to trust God. Let your relationship with God be just relationship, not just what you can get.
That's it. If your relationship with God before you came is based on consumerism, when you come here, where you don't need those things, it might be difficult to still trust God. So for me, I would advise, if you're living with a man, a woman, husband, wife, and you notice that since you arrived and things are going quite smoothly, you've done training, you're working, the money is good, there's no need to say, let's go to church again, let's go. It's not time to start screaming and shouting, even though that's the natural reaction.
Response.
Just realize that this person is living in culture shock. Culture shock. Yes. Thinking that so it's impossible for me to be able to do this today. What we do is to gradually guide that person. Perhaps reintroduce God to that person. Maybe that person's concept of God is not solid. Yeah. The need for God. We have to ask ourselves again, why am I dependent on God? It's just for my needs. Because what if all my needs are met? So perhaps start working on gradual doing things at home, Bible study, to reintroduce why man needs God.
Why we all need God. Why the children also need.
And when I say man, I'm talking about man generally, not just like God said I created man, in my own image. So why we need God. Start talking about it even with the children, because it is difficult here to say to the children, you try and say we need God but not just for meeting our needs. It's a difficult place to be. I understand you, sir. I understand you, man. But it is doable if you have a compassion in your heart. Culture shock, it's a phase like Dr. Sheon said, and gradually reintroduce God to this person. Praise God.
Thank you so much, Dr. Obi.
You're welcome.
So Dr. Obi is the director of Vantage Points Psychological Company or Services.
Yeah.
Thank you, that's the word. So thank you for listening to us. I'll put Dr. Obi's details, you will see our details in the link below, in the description below. Thank you.
Thank you so much. God bless you. Bye-bye.